Above us, skyscrapers pierce the clouds. Below us, tunnels stretch between countries. But between the surface and the sky, billions are being poured into dreams that look like science fiction and feel like bets on the future. From underwater megatunnels to cities rising in deserts, these aren't just builds, they're billion-dollar risks with the power to reshape everything. Here are 15 of most ambitious, expensive, and unbelievable construction projects ever attempted. Number 15, NEOM City, Saudi Arabia. $500 billion. That's the price tag on Saudi Arabia's wildest dream, NEOM. It's not just a city, it's a whole ecosystem designed to rethink urban life. The centerpiece is the Line, a 105-mile linear city with no roads, no cars, and zero carbon emissions. Stretching from the mountains to the sea, it's built to house 9 million people in a mirrored wall structure only 200 meters wide. But NEOM doesn't stop there. It also includes Trojena, a ski resort in the desert, and Oxagon, the world's largest floating industrial complex. The Saudi government is racing toward a 2030 completion date, investing over $500 billion to make this vision real. But not everyone's convinced. Supporters say NEOM is the sustainable city of tomorrow, a blueprint for the post-oil future. Critics call it a futuristic fantasy riddled with impossible promises and massive environmental concerns. Whether it becomes a new model for urban living or just the world's costliest mirage, NEOM is already the most expensive construction project in history, and it's far from over. Number 14, ITER, the fusion experiment, France. What if we could bottle a star? That's the challenge behind ITER, the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor in southern France. With a staggering $24 billion budget, ITER aims to prove that nuclear fusion, the same process that powers the sun, can provide nearly limitless clean energy. Unlike today's nuclear plants that split atoms, fusion smashes them together, releasing enormous power without long-lived radioactive waste. It's the holy grail of energy science, and it's being built piece by massive piece. 35 nations are collaborating on this unprecedented engineering challenge. Components are custom-built across the globe and shipped to France like puzzle pieces. But building a reactor to handle temperatures 10 times hotter than the sun? That's pushing every limit of physics and patience. Delays have been frequent, and the first plasma test, originally set for 2025, keeps getting pushed. Still, if ITER succeeds, it could change the world. Clean energy, no meltdown risk, and power for generations. But failure would mean billions burned chasing a dream. Number 13, South-North Water Transfer Project, China. When northern China started running dry, officials didn't panic, they moved rivers. The South-North Water Transfer Project is a $48 billion megasystem designed to deliver fresh water from the wet south to the thirsty north, including cities like Beijing and Tianjin. The system includes thousands of miles of canals, tunnels, pumping stations, and dams, all working like a giant artificial river. It's one of the most ambitious feats of engineering in human history and has been under construction since the early 2000s. But it's not all smooth sailing. The project has displaced hundreds of thousands of people and stirred environmental backlash. Critics argue that diverting the Yangtze River could lead to ecological disaster and long-term water imbalances. Plus, the maintenance costs are massive. Still, the project is operational, at least partially, and it's already pumping billions of gallons a day. Whether it's a triumph of necessity or a ticking time bomb, one thing's clear. When China solves a problem, it moves mountains and rivers. Number 12, Dubailand, UAE. Imagine a place twice the size of Disney World, filled with theme parks, shopping malls, stadiums, and even a replica Taj Mahal. That was the dream behind Dubailand, a $76 billion mega entertainment district in Dubai. Launched in the early 2000s, it aimed to turn Dubai into the entertainment capital of the world. The scale was jaw-dropping, over 100 square miles of attractions, resorts, and residential zones. For a moment, it looked unstoppable. Then came the 2008 global financial crisis, and the project slammed into a wall. Many parts of Dubailand were delayed, scaled down, or scrapped altogether. Some attractions made it, like IMG Worlds of Adventure, but the original vision was never realized. Pieces of Dubailand have been absorbed into other developments across Dubai, while the rest remains unfinished. Today, it stands as a cautionary tale. Even in a city known for ambition, there's such a thing as too big. Number 11, Crossrail/Elizabeth Line, UK. It was meant to revolutionize London transit, a high-speed rail slicing beneath the ancient city, linking Heathrow to Canary Wharf and beyond. Instead, Crossrail, now called the Elizabeth Line, became one of the UK's most delayed and expensive infrastructure projects. First proposed in the 1990s and greenlit in the 2000s, the project was supposed to open in 2018. Instead, it opened 4 years late at a cost of over $23 billion. The scope is impressive. More than 60 miles of track, 11 brand new underground stations, and cutting-edge trains. But the challenges were equally massive. Tunneling through centuries of London's infrastructure caused major delays. Integrating new tech systems proved harder than expected, and the pandemic only added to the chaos. Now that it's operational, the Elizabeth Line is moving millions, sleek, fast, and finally functional. But for many, the biggest question remains, was it worth the wait? Number 10. Hinkley Point C, UK. On Britain's southwest coast, an energy giant is rising, slowly and expensively. Hinkley Point C is the UK's flagship nuclear power project designed to supply low-carbon energy to 6 million homes. With a budget already past $31 billion and climbing, it's become one of Europe's costliest and most controversial energy projects. The goal? Replace aging nuclear plants and help the UK hit net zero emissions targets. But building next-generation nuclear reactors hasn't gone smoothly. Technical issues, supply chain delays, rising material costs, and even Brexit have all pushed deadlines years into the future. What was supposed to open years ago might now not go live until well into the 2030s. Some call it a necessary investment in long-term energy security. Others see a financial black hole. Either way, Hinkley Point C is a high-stakes test of whether nuclear power still has a place in our energy future. Number 9. Istanbul Airport, Turkey. If you're building a gateway between Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, you don't go halfway. You build big, and Turkey did just that. Istanbul Airport opened in 2018 as one of the largest and most ambitious airports ever conceived. Phase 1 alone cost over $11 billion, and the full plan includes 6 runways, multiple terminals, a cargo city, metro links, and even its own hotel district. Designed to serve 200 million passengers per year, it's aiming to become the busiest airport on Earth. But ambition came with obstacles. Environmental concerns, labor disputes, and logistical nightmares made headlines during construction. The sheer size of the airport meant massive planning and even more massive costs. Still, the Turkish government sees it as a symbol of national growth and geopolitical clout. Today, Istanbul Airport is operational, luxurious, and expanding fast. Whether it becomes the global hub it dreams of or buckles under the weight of competition and cost remains to be seen. Number 8. Channel Tunnel, UK. France beneath the English Channel, a bold vision became reality. The Channel Tunnel, or Channel, links the UK and France through a 31-mile underwater rail tunnel. It took decades of planning, billions of dollars, and a relentless belief in the impossible to bring it to life. When it opened in 1994, it was hailed as a modern marvel, and rightly so. Engineers bored through clay and chalk, 3 tunnels deep, with custom-built machines. One for trains, one for maintenance, and one for dreams. But the price was steep, over $22 billion after inflation. Construction delays, political battles, and budget overruns plagued the project from start to finish. Yet today, it's a vital piece of European travel and trade. Millions pass through it every year, shortening the trip from London to Paris to under 3 hours. The Channel Tunnel isn't just a transportation link, it's proof that with enough will and money, even nations divided by water can come together. Number 7. Jubail II Industrial City, Saudi Arabia. Forget glass towers and theme parks. Jubail II is where the real heavy lifting happens. This massive expansion of an already enormous industrial city is part of Saudi Arabia's long-term strategy to diversify its economy beyond oil. With costs exceeding $80 billion, it's one of the largest and most ambitious industrial infrastructure projects in the world. Ports, pipelines, power grids, desalination plants, and sprawling refinery complexes are all being built to create a global manufacturing and export hub. Construction began in the mid-2000s and has moved forward in phases with constant additions and upgrades. The city isn't flashy like NEOM, but it's essential, powering jobs, industrial production, and international trade. The scale is staggering. Tens of thousands of workers, millions of tons of raw material, and an entire coastline transformed into an economic engine. It might not be a tourist attraction, but make no mistake, Jubail II is quietly shaping the future of global industry. Number 6. Moscow International Business Center, Russia. Welcome to Moscow City, where steel, glass, and ambition collide. Officially known as the Moscow International Business Center, this $12+ billion megadevelopment is Russia's bold attempt to transform its capital into a modern financial powerhouse. The skyline looks straight out of the future, featuring some of Europe's tallest towers like Federation Tower and Mercury City. Offices, luxury apartments, hotels, and shopping malls are all packed into a dense vertical zone, sleek, striking, and unapologetically bold. But Moscow City hasn't been all smooth sailing. Launched in the 1990s, the project faced delays, economic crises, and funding gaps. Some buildings sat vacant for years, while others remained half-finished. Critics argue the district looks impressive from afar, but feels hollow inside, with prices too high for most Russians. Yet despite the turbulence, the business center continues to grow. It's a statement piece, a flex of architectural might, and Russia's declaration that it's playing on the world stage. Number 5. Kansai International Airport, Japan. Building an airport on solid ground is hard enough. But Japan, they took things to another level, or more accurately, below sea level. Kansai International Airport sits on an artificial island in Osaka Bay, designed to withstand typhoons, earthquakes, and the intense air traffic demands of Japan's second-largest metropolitan region. Completed in 1994 at a cost of over $20 billion, it was a marvel of engineering from day one, an iconic floating terminal praised for both design and durability. But nature had other plans. The island started sinking, faster than expected. Billions had to be poured into reinforcing and stabilizing the structure. Engineers scrambled to adjust, and maintenance costs soared. Despite all this, Kansai Airport still stands, still operates, and still amazes with its futuristic aesthetic and logistical efficiency. It's a shining example of pushing engineering boundaries and learning that sometimes the sea pushes back. Number 4. WestConnex, Australia in Sydney, one of the world's most ambitious tunneling projects, is reshaping how millions of people move. WestConnex is a $11+ billion infrastructure plan aiming to untangle the city's notorious traffic by linking major highways through a network of deep underground tunnels. Spanning over 20 miles, the project is being delivered in stages and includes everything from widened roads to massive ventilation towers and interchanges buried beneath neighborhoods. But not everyone's on board. The noise, dust, and disruption have sparked outrage in local communities. Environmentalists and city planners have questioned whether the project truly reduces congestion or just shifts it elsewhere. Still, WestConnex is plowing ahead with multiple stages already complete. It's a high-risk, high-reward gamble on future-proofing a growing city. Whether it becomes a traffic solution or another urban headache, one thing's for sure: you can't miss what's happening beneath Sydney's streets. Number 3. Berlin-Brandenburg Airport, BER, Germany. Germany is famous for precision and efficiency. But one project shattered that reputation: Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. Set to open in 2011, it became a global punchline for failure, delay, and chaos. The airport finally opened in 2020, nearly a decade late, and over $8 billion deep. Fire safety systems didn't work. Escalators were the wrong length. Wiring was a disaster. It was like watching a checklist of what not to do in construction. The worst part: all of this unfolded under the world's gaze. Contractors quit, budgets ballooned, and the unfinished terminals sat empty for years. Even now, the airport struggles to shake off its legacy. While it's finally functional and handling millions of passengers, the scars run deep. BER stands as a symbol of how even the most organized nations can fumble when vision outpaces execution. It's a terminal reminder that size isn't everything, execution is. Number 2. California High-Speed Rail, USA. Speed, sustainability, and sleek design, that was the promise. California's high-speed rail was supposed to link San Francisco and Los Angeles with bullet trains hitting 220 miles per hour, slashing travel times and reducing emissions. But today, it's a project buried under lawsuits, land disputes, and political warfare. Originally budgeted at $33 billion, it has surged past $100 billion with no clear end in sight and not a single full section operational. The Central Valley segment is under construction, but progress is crawling. Years of planning haven't solved the logistical and legal mess that surrounds a project. Critics call it a bottomless pit of taxpayer money, while supporters argue it's still the best chance the U.S. has at modern rail transit. The vision is bold, futuristic trains cutting through California's sprawl. But so far, it's become a slow-motion saga of how good intentions can derail. Number 1. Libya's Great Man-Made River. No rivers, no lakes, no problem. Libya pulled off one of the most incredible engineering feats ever attempted, the Great Man-Made River. Launched under Muammar Gaddafi in the 1980s, this $20+ billion project brings ancient groundwater from deep beneath the Sahara Desert to coastal cities and farmland. We're talking about a vast underground pipeline network stretching over 1,700 miles, supplying billions of gallons of water each day. The impact was real: drinking water for millions, agricultural growth in dry zones, and reduced dependence on imports. But the project has its flaws. The water isn't renewable. Once the fossil aquifers run dry, there's no refill. And after years of civil conflict, maintenance has suffered, leaving parts of the system in disrepair. Still, the river continues to flow, a buried lifeline keeping a nation alive. It's either a miracle of necessity or a ticking clock. So there you have it, 15 megaprojects that pushed boundaries, broke budgets, and rewrote what's possible. Some soared, some stumbled, but all of them made history. Which one do you think was the most mind-blowing? Drop a comment below, hit like if you love this kind of deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic builds and global game changers. See you in the next one. Stay curious.